Okay, so today we are going to put into practice the techniques and the properties of Flex display properties, Flex that we learned yesterday by building this project over here. So we are going to build this project, and the whole thing is heavily dependent on the Flex display properties. And as we know, the Flex display property is very, very important. And a lot of websites, that is the key thing that they use to do amazing things and complicated things. So we are going to demonstrate how that is done by attempting to build this website together. So I have to say that I found this project on the internet somewhere. I have even forgotten the place where I found it. And we are just going to attempt to build it, just to practice what we've learned so far. So it is a very interesting project, and it's the most complicated project that we've ever done. By the time you go through this project, I think that you're going to have a command over the Flex display property. And it's not just the Flex, over the CSS business, right? If you have to design any front end, doesn't matter how complicated it is, if you are able to understand what we are going to do today, then you would be able to do it, right? So without further ado, let's just get started by creating a folder, a working directory for the project. So like we do all the time, you gotta ignore everything that is here, act as if they are not there, right? Because these are previous folders and files that we used. We are not using anything from there. We're just gonna click over here to create a folder, which will be CSS day 7, and then I'll call it project. So we come in here and we add a file. We call it news website .html. As you know, everything begins with a HTML. So we have to decide, are we going to put our CSS code in the same HTML document, or we should put it in an external document? It's a decision that we have to make. And I always like to just put it in the same document. But today, let's just create an external document for it, just to have some variety. So news website .css, and in here, we want to do this project, okay? We can see there are images here that we need to have locally to be able to reference. And they have all this text that we just have to put the text in the right places. At this point in time, all of us can design something like this. Like you can see these 3 divs that are placed next to each other. We all know how to design this. This is an image tag. This is like a H1 tag, and then this is a paragraph, right? We can all do this, So I don't think we have to spend time doing the HTML. I can just copy the HTML code, and then we can focus on the design of the page, right? You can look at the bottom here. So this is a list of something, right? A list of items, a list of items, a list of items. So in HTML, if you want to create a list of items, the syntax is very clear. We all know how to do it. You just use the list element, and then you populate it, right? So this is something we can do. This is just an image tag. It is something we can do. So there is nothing here that is new for us. So this is H1 tag, and this is H1 tag, image, H1, or a paragraph, right? We all can do these things. So let's not waste time doing the HTML. So I'm just gonna copy that and then we will just use it. So let me go here, projects, news.html. So I'll just copy everything from here. So you know the content of the page is always controlled by the HTML. So we want to do some styling. So what are you styling? You need to have the content first. So I'm gonna paste it over here. And let me save it. As you can see, they have put everything on the page in one container. And then let's look at the photo. Let's start from the top here. The header section, you have New York Times. We saw that up there. These are the two elements in the header section. And then they have the news section. This is pretty big area. One second. I just want to give you guys a high level view of what they have written. So the news section ends over here. And then they have a sidebar section. And then the footer. So at this point, we all know what a footer is, right? If you go to a page, the bottom of the page, this is the footer. We also know what the header is. This is the header, the top. So this, we saw the header, there is a div for this. And then the sidebar, this is the sidebar. See, this one is on the side. It's on the side of the page. We could put it at the left side, we can put it at the right side, but this is the sidebar. So on a higher level, how many divisions do you see on this page? On a higher level, we have the header, and then we have the sidebar, which keeps going down, sidebar, and then we have the footer, number 3, and then the rest of the section is the news. This is the news section, yes. The rest of it is the news section, right? So you guys can see 4 divisions on the site, right?
Yes.
If you don't see 4 divisions, you can tell me, okay, what is the password of this page? See, in the company, your company will give you the design of the page and ask you to design it. So you can, on a higher level, you can see there is a header section, there is a sidebar, and then there is the main content here, which is the news. Different news articles are being shown here in different fashion, right? There's a bigger one. This is a bigger news section, and then these are medium sized, and another big section, and then these are small news. You know, just looking at getting a high level view of the page, okay? So now that I'm thinking about it, we are not just going to copy the HTML just like that. That would be too, you will not learn much. So I just want to build it from scratch so that, but when we get to the content, I'll copy the content and paste it, right? Some of these contents, I'll just come and copy them and paste them, right? Is that okay? Because you wouldn't expect me to type all this, right? If it is right here, we can just copy and use it, right? So let me, in order for us to understand it very well, I think it's better for me to kind of begin from the scratch, and then we work our way upward, okay? So as you know, this is the boilerplate. We don't really care about this. We can leave it there, but we don't care about it. So let me just create a link. So the link, as we know, this is the signature of the link, and we are linking it to this file right there. So we're gonna leave this open here, but it has the same name, so that will be confusing. So let's just rename our files again. Let me add project to this. It's a major project, guys. Major project. And then yeah, for this is okay. Yeah, this is our file, right? It's gonna contain the CSS. So we are linking our code to this so that any CSS we will just put over there. Okay. So the first thing I want us to do in the body section, let's go back to the site again, the site that we are building. We always have to have the picture in our eyes, okay? We saw that there are 4 divisions, 1, 2, 3, and then what? And then 4. So let's do that, okay? Let's try to have that 4 divisions. So there is a bigger, we'll get a parent div. Like I said, it's always important to have a parent div. And let's call this, give it an ID of a class of container, right? And then within this div, we're gonna have 4 sections, 4 divisions on the page. So they are all divs. So let's just have 4 of them. And let me copy. This is how you do the design. Like if you have to do this yourself. You're always thinking from the higher up. So we broke the whole site into 4 divisions. Do we have any questions over here? The reason why we did this, do you guys all understand it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, please. If you can just always interact, and it will help a lot. So now let's give names to. Let's give a class to distance, right? The first division. Let me call all of them header. Of course, we're going to change it. Let's give them a good name. So the first one, we are saying that is the header section. So I'm calling it the header. Then this is the sidebar. So I'm calling this the sidebar. Then we're gonna call the bottom here footer, as always. Then the rest of it is the news, Remember, the whole goal of this website is what? To show the news. So the news is taking the bigger part of the screen. So just coming from that understanding, let me put news, and then let me call this sidebar. Sidebar. So I'm gonna work slowly through the process with you guys. So this is a good demo also, right? So that after this one, the assignment I'm gonna give is that watch the video and replicate everything that I did. And then you can show it to me next week. So if you have any questions, any doubts, please ask it. Of course, if we view this in browser right now, we are not going to see anything, right? Because our divs are there, but they have no content in them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's just put some content here, say header. So this is a content. You all know where to put the content, right? In here. The content, sidebar, and then footer. Now, when we go back, we see this. And imagine how this is going to turn into this. But don't think about that right now. We're going to do it slowly. I want to give some borders so that we can see what we are doing. So to give some borders here, I'm just going to do it in the external file. It's a class, so you have to use a dot. So border, I'm just going to say 2 pixels, solid, and then tomato. What color should we use? Black. Let's use black for now. So actually, if you want to use the black, you don't need to specify it because that's the default color. Let's go back and see. So we gave the color to the header, right? So it's only the header that has the color. We want to give it to all of them. So what should we do? There are 2 ways of doing it. You can put comma here and then select the others also. If you put comma, that means you are about to mention another class. So that, what are the names? News is one, and then
Sidebar.
Okay, thank you. Dot sidebar.
And then footer.
Okay, sidebar, and then dot footer. Okay, thank you. So once you do this, I'm just doing multiple selections on the, because I want this to apply to all of them. Another way to do it, I could give a common class name to all of them so that I just use it one time. So just know that there are different ways of doing things. And then now we have this. We all don't have any problem with the divs taking the whole screen, right? Because the default display property on the div is what? It's block. This is block display. That's why it is taking the whole thing. If it was inline, it would have just taken this much space. But that is what it needs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so so the next thing we want to do, let's call the container. I want to see the container also. The first thing we want to do is to change the display of the container to Flex and see what happens. Flex. So suddenly we have this. Actually, you guys, do you even see the container, the width and the borders of the container? We don't see it. So let's specify that. So the Flex, that's what it does. Yesterday, that's what Justina, you missed. So we give it 2 pixels also, solid, and then let me call this should I make that black also? Let me tomato color. I'll put the tomato and then they say blue. So I just want us to see that the boundaries of the container. Okay, this is the boundaries of the container. So guys, we are trying to implement the skills that we learned yesterday, right? So we want to have this behavior, right? And the whole behavior on the higher level, right now, everything in here, we have reduced it into a div. Everything in the news section here is just one div. That's the news. That is in the news here. And then everything in the header section here will be in the header, in this header container. Remember, the divs are containers, right? So you can put things in them later on. So sidebar is on this side, and then the footer is at the bottom. So I have a question. First of all, let's set the wrap property. Let's set the wrap property on the container so that if in case we increase the width of the items in the container and they don't fit in here, they don't fit in the parent container, they will flow to the next line, okay? To have that behavior, what do? There is a property for that. So it's the flex wrap property, and then you set it to wrap. So Justina, like if you watch yesterday's video, this will make a lot of sense. And this is not changing anything because there is no overflow, right? So now the main question, I want you guys to think really and answer me. What I want to get is the ability for the header to take the whole screen here, the first line like this, the whole thing, and then everything else should be moved to the next line. How am I going to do that? If I want this header alone to fill the whole space here, how am I going to do that? Remember, this one has a width, right? It has a width. And I just want only the header. But remember, everything here is just the header for us right now. Because we have to work from the top down, not from the bottom up. So how do I make this header fill up the whole space of the container?
Can I see the code again?
Oh, sorry. This is the code. Oh, sorry. This is where we'll be copying things from. So this is the main code is this. Put this next to it. So let me try to break this into 2 so we can place them side by side. Yeah, so this is the whole thing. We have this, and then this is our design. So this is the header. And we are in the Flex container. Once you enter the Flex container, everything in it becomes a Flex item. And because of that, you have about 10 properties that you can use. So all I'm saying is that I want to make this header occupy the whole space in here. This is a very simple question. Oh. It's a very simple question, guys. Okay, this is the width of the header, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I want the width of the header to occupy the whole space here, what will I do? I have to increase it, right? Yes, sir. I have to increase the width of the header. So that's the only way. This is the width of the header.
Mhm.
If I want to make it bigger, I have to increase the width, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
if
and move all of that others down. I'm thinking of the code you can use for that.
So
Like
would you
the header will take the top and news and sidebar and
we'll
footer
move
will
down.
go down. Yeah.
Oh, that code is simple. We already put that code in place. That's the wrap. This wrap.
Yeah, okay.
Remember, yeah, this is the wrap. The wrap means that if the whole place is full, move the other contents to the next line.
Okay.
would you call the header and change the width for the header?
Exactly. That's exactly what we need to do. So just call the header, and it's just the header alone this time. You can do copy and pasting, but let me just type it. Dot header, and I'm saying the width. I'm setting the width of the header to be. Let's use percentages now. 100%,
Mm-hmm.
which means it's going to take 100% of the parent's width.
Mhm.
Right? That's what this means. Now, if you refresh, you see it's taking the whole thing. And because we have the flex property, we have the wrap, it's moving the rest of them down. Let me remove the wrap so that you can see. If you take the wrap away, this will be a very bad code, but it will still force them there.
Mm-hmm.
You see, it's squeezing, they will squeeze in there instead of them to wrap below. So right now, this header is not getting all the weight it needs because there is no room for it. So it is squeezing itself. And then we learned yesterday, if you want to move this to the next line, when you have a situation like this, you have to just set the wrap property to wrap, right? That's all you have to do. And once we do that and you refresh, automatically, every item will get the space that it needs because of the wrap. So you can see, friends, that we have that ability here, right? Now, this New York Times, this whole div is taking that whole space, which is good. Now, the next question. Look at the footer. You can see the footer also is taking the whole space, right? It's taking the whole space. This whole section is the footer. It's taking the whole space of the screen. So how do I do that? So this footer. So let's see, how can I get the footer to also take a whole length from beginning to end?
Do the same thing as you did for the header.
I'm doing the same thing as I did for the header. And why do you think that's gonna push? What do you think that's gonna happen if I do that?
It'll go below the news and the sidebar, and then the news and sidebar are going to be on the same line.
Yes, why will it do that? That's exactly what it's gonna do, but why is it doing that?
Is it because of the wrap?
It's because of the wrap, number one. And then number two is now the footer needs the space that it needs is not having it, right? Because it needs to have the whole space like from here to end, right? Right now, the footer will expand from here to here, and it will still need more space, right? Because it's going to need this much space. And because it doesn't have it, it has to move to the next line.
Okay.
Do you get my point?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to overflow and then it will move down. So that's exactly what I wanted to hear. So we will do the same thing. Oh, sorry. Copy. And then change this one to footer. Footer. Okay, now refresh and we have that. So like I see this as a very big win. my friends. You can see footer is at the bottom. The header is also there, and then sidebar is here, and then the news is also here. But you can see that there is a division happening here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So sidebar, they are not filling the whole space. So they are not filling the whole space that they can fill. So there is a way to do that. Do you guys know what we should do? Remember, once you have this and you're growing, you're expecting these things to grow in size, right? But the question is, how do you want them to grow? Maybe you want this one to grow 1 time, you want this one to grow 5 times. So that's the concept that we need here. So we need to tell the computer that I want the news to grow faster than the sidebar. So right now I'm not setting any width. I'm just going to say whatever space that is there, let the news be maybe 3 times as big as the sidebar. As you can see, I did the measurement and I know that from here to here, it's about 3 times the size of this, right? You see, this is one, it's about 1, 2, and 3. So let's try to put that in place. We learned how to do that yesterday. So that is a property that you set on the flex item level. So we're gonna say news. It's a flex item, and we're gonna say flex. Flex. You know the flex is a shorthand property, and the first value it takes is the flex grow. So I want this one to grow 3 times. So 3:1, and then even if I do this, I don't think I need to set the sidebar. Let's check. Because this default property is going to be 1. But let's see. I just want to see if I need to set the sidebar. Oh, so then it pushes the sidebar all the way to the end. Okay. So let's also control the sidebar. Dot sidebar. You're saying that I want the sidebar to be only 1 unit. If the sidebar is 1 unit length, I want the news to be 3 times as long. So what do you call it? Justina, we learned this yesterday. So you can just watch.
I think she's not there again.
Is Justina in the call?
I think she left.
Oh, we lost.
She's not there.
Okay, we lost her. That's okay. Right. So then we continue. So guys, can you see what we have now? Just by applying the same principles. And is this one getting closer to what we need?
Yeah. See,
the whole sidebar. The rest of it, you just put the content in it. That's all, right? The content, we all know how to do it. So is this very understandable?
Yeah.
And that's what people are saying, that the flex allows you, it's like a layout of the site. So that is the knowledge you need to really space out how things are really showing. Okay, so now let's go 1 step deeper. I think we finished with the first round of divisions, all the divs. We just want to do everything at a div level, and then later on we're going to put the content in it, right? So now, the first architecture, we got it. So let's look at the second architecture. And so now let's look at the news. We want to focus on the news section and see what is happening there, right? Because there is some divisions happening over there too, right? There's some architecture in there. So we can see that this whole section is 1 div. This whole section is 1 div. And then this is 1 div, and then this is another div. This is a whole div also. Then here
so is it possible that you finish with the header, finish with the footer, and we'll now focus on the news and the sidebar?
It is possible. It is possible.
Or it depends on how you want to do your layout and you start doing it.
It's exactly like that. It all depends on how you want to do your layout.
Okay.
And also, because this is we already have the design that we want to do, I'm just looking at it. Because whatever we are going to do here is the same skills that we just did. Whatever division we just did, we need to think and do the same thing to the news section to space them out. So I just want to do the architecture first, and then we will focus on adding content.
Okay. So now this is like a professional thinking. If you have a client that needs to do something, do they give you the design they want, or they just give you the content that you have to come up with? Then you can do like 2 of them and give them to pick one.
So like if you are just doing website development, just you are building websites for people, then some of them will tell you, they just give you that, oh, this website is about school, so give me a design that is good.
That's good. Okay.
They can trust you to design it the way you want. But some people will give you the design that they want. So we want this. They will give you the designs and then you will build it.
Okay.
But if it is a software, you work for a software company, almost always your manager will tell you, I want this design.
Okay.
Design the software front end this way for me.
Okay.
And then you just do it. You don't make that decision yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. That is what they call the requirement. Whatever you're doing, there's a requirement for it. So you look at the requirement. And part of the requirement, there is something called the design documents. It's going to have the designs in there, the look and feel, even the colors, everything they will tell you. And then you just do it. So right now, I'm just trying to do the architecture of the whole thing, and then we can now focus on content. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
So the same high level thinking that we did for the whole thing, now let's use the same thinking and narrow down on the news section. So this is the news section. It has a lot of content in there, but now on a high level, you can see that this whole section is one div. This whole section is another one div, one div, one div. And then this is a div, right? And then there's a whole another div over here. So let's try to do that in the code. So we are doing that in the news section. So now we need to go one step into the news div and begin to get that that layout. So usually, because we are building from here, I will just copy that. So the news, I'm gonna copy the content in the news. Oh, sorry. So I'll just, oh gosh, I'm sorry. Sometimes if you are copying a lot of that, you can just do this and then scroll down like this. So I'm just copying everything in the news. So this is the news div, this outer div, that is the news, the one that we just did. Everything in the news I just copied, but we don't care about content right now. We just care about architecture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove, I just want the divs that are in there. That's all I want, the divs. So there is one div here, there's another div. I don't care about the content, I'm just removing it. Remove all the content in the divs. But we want the divisions, right? The layout. We are planning the layout first. And then this one too, remove it. Remove it. So everything they're doing here is very easy. We all can do it. It's just content that they are adding. But we need to have the architecture first so that it will make sense when you look at it. Okay, so in the news section, we have all the various divisions. So this is the first div, the second, the third. So you can look at the divs. They have grouped them into a big one, medium, big, small, and then big. Because they are doing this based on the sizes, right? You can see the new, they are not all of them are the same size, right? See? So they are saying that this is the big set, this one. And if you go down, there is another This whole thing is also a big news section. And then here is also a big news section, like the front page of a website, right? You want to highlight this information, so you make it bigger than the others. Then these are smaller information, but these are medium, so these are bigger than. So they have done a very nice job of distinguishing them, because the big, all of them are the same. And then the mediums are the same, and then the small. So this design could have been anything. You could have made it any way you want, right? But it makes sense that they did it this way, so that whatever design they apply to the big would automatically apply to all of them. Whatever design they give to the small, they are just grouping things up, right? You always want to group things up. And you can see article, 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 article. Why do you think they gave all of them the same name? Article, article, article. So one class, these are two classes, okay? So this one, they all have the same name, like we do, right? When you have a lot of divs in one container, it's a good practice to give all of them one name, and then also give each of them individual names. But what is the use of this article class over here? At the end of the day, all of them are news, right?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you want to apply one design to all of them. So you don't want to be calling this name, just call the article, and then whatever design you give will just apply to all of them. That is the only reason why you are doing this, right? So you are just naming things. Essentially, you are just naming things. So now let's go in the browser and see what we have. Nothing is here. Okay, we'll go back. Why is there? Oh yeah. Can you guys tell me why? See, we have put the divs in here.
Mm-hmm.
But when we go to the UI and you do the refresh, we took away the news and we put divs in there. But we don't see anything in there. Can you tell me why there is nothing here?
Yes, because of the size.
Because of the size of what?
The size of the news position, the weight
Oh,
and the
you think the size is too small?
Yeah.
Actually, I
thought
realized that the height is dynamically increasing as you keep adding things in it. So the height is kind of
No, Afanawa is saying something.
Oh, Afi, please, what did you say?
Is it the oh, never mind, sorry.
Yeah. Should I tell you the answer?
Okay.
If you add divs like this and you don't put any content in it, there is nothing to show.
Oh,
If you don't put what?
Content.
Oh, okay.
You know, when you create
So-
an element, there is a content, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So-
I'm listening, please.
So it was it like in the beginning when we had the names, like the header,
Exactly.
the sidebar and footer, but we didn't put anything in the
content.
in the
or
content.
Between the tags. We didn't put anything between the tags. And nothing showed up because of that. Yeah, that is the same.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm just putting content here. Medium, this is the first medium. Second medium. There's some things that make sense, right? There should be something to show. Otherwise, small 1, small 2, small 3. Okay, so now I have put contents in there. So now if we go back, and we have them.
Okay.
And again, they look awful. So let's just add some borders so that we can see the boundaries, right? So I want to add borders to all of this. So I'm just gonna do it through the article, right?
Yeah.
They all have the article ID. Sorry. So guys, don't be confused with this file over here. That is the parent file that we have. So to make our lives a little bit easier. Let me just reduce this, it's too big. Just want to reduce. We don't need to really see that. You know, we can just so here we can just say article dot article, then say border, just so we see it. On the site, I don't know if they have border over there, but if in case they don't have it, later on we can remove it. 2 pixels, solid, and then let's call this one tomato. Let's give it a tomato color. And as soon as we do that, can somebody tell me what's going to happen? We give it a border.
Each of them are going to have like a rectangle around it.
Yeah, so yeah, how long is the rectangle going to go? That's exactly right.
Oh, all the way to the end of the line.
Here?
The other one.
This one, yes.
Yeah.
Because now we have forced the news container to only operate in this space.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now that's exactly what's going to happen. Boom. Okay. So now, the same thinking that we did, we need to do the same thinking here also. Let's go to the site. We can see that the big section is taking the whole space of the news container. And then the rest of them are not taking the whole space, right? So the big is taking the whole space. And then, so we need to do that division. So how can we achieve this? How can we achieve this? So the first thing I have to tell you is that although this news, all of these are flex items, they are all flex items, we can also make them flex containers also. So the news, we have to make it a flex container so that we can also call the wrap property on it and then do the same thing that we did at the parent level. Okay. So this is a flex item. It can also be a flex container. So anytime you call a property that is a flex item on the news, it's going to do it with reference to the main container. But if you call a parent level flex property on the news, then it's going to treat the news as a parent. So it's going to control the items, the flex items inside it. So let's see what I mean by that. So the way to achieve that, just say dot news, the news, call the news, and then we already have the news. We have it here. We can do it here too. Should we just do it at one place? Let's do it at one place. Let's set the display to flex. If I want to make it a flex container, this is how I do it, right? Guys, are you following?
Yes.
So you can see the news div it has all this content in it, right? So it's a container. But what container is it? Let's make it a flex container so that we can have access to all the properties that we learned. And as soon as we do that, we have that beautiful behavior once again. Understood? If you have any questions, please ask me.
Okay.
Okay, so we have this. So now we do the same thing. We want the big to take the whole space, and we want the rest of them to wrap to the next bottom. So we have to set the wrap property here, flex wrap to wrap, so that will happen. And then now, remember, these ones have different names, right? So we want the big, only the big. So copy the big. Oh God, sorry. Oh no. Yeah. Yeah. Something happened, but I think we are back. So just let me type big here. So I want to make the width of the big take 100% of the space. Let's see what we get just by doing that. And now we have this. You see, we are getting close to what we are getting close to getting this. We have the big section, it took the whole space. Now the mediums, the two mediums are next to each other. And then this whole big is also taking the whole space. The smalls are next to each other. And then, yeah, because of the way we did the arrangement, right? It made the work easier for us. So what have we done? This is what we have now. Guys, this looks good to me. But again, the medium, they have to occupy the whole space, right?
Yeah.
And then we want the small to occupy the whole space. But how do we want the medium to occupy the whole space? We want them to share the space equally. So because of that, we can make them grow at the same rate. So the medium, we are talking about the medium now. So dot medium. We want the mediums to have a flex grow of 2. That means that we're sharing the place equally. We could have used 1, 1 also, but let me try 1 and see what it does. So even 1 is also the same, right? It's taking the whole space. They are sharing it equally, right? So the trick over here is that the same class is applied to 2 of them, right? Because they are the same. So it is automatically happening like this. And if you make it 2, again, it doesn't matter because it's the same number. So it will still be equal. It will still be the same. Okay. So now the small, I want them to also share the space equally. So how will I do it? The same, right?
Yeah.
So that's small. And flex. And then just say, you can use 1. 1, and then boom. Can you see the building plan of the site?
Yeah.
Just building a plan like that. This is a pretty complicated project, as you can see, right? It's a pretty complicated, but once you have the plan, it's easy. You just put the content in it. So now let's do the sidebar. We're almost done, I guess. So the sidebar also, how many items are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. We can just enter 4 divs over there, actually 5 of them, and then give them classes and IDs. But I want to give them the same class and ID that the other people did. So let me copy. I'm just going to copy their section, the same thing that I did. I mean, they gave it the same class name, pins. So this I can even type. Let me type it. So within the sidebar section, go in the div. Remember, every div is a container. We need 5 divs in here. Each of them has sorry, let me go back. See, one thing, you can see all of them have the same behavior. So they gave them the same ID, the same class. So the easiest way to type that, you just come here, you can see dot, then enter the class names, pins, and then hit enter. And it will complete it for you. So we need 5 of them. So just copy this, paste it, paste it, paste it, paste it. 5. Everything good? See, I'm doing it in the sidebar container. Then now let's go back to the UI. We don't see anything here. Do you guys know why?
The same thing from
Yes.
last time. We don't have any contact in it.
Content, yes.
Okay, thank you guys. So we'll just add content here. Pin 1. You know, in the newspaper, they have pins 2. So the person who designed this did very good. I like it. Right. Sorry. So pin 3. I'll just type it, pin 4. Pin 5. Save. Now we have that. We have the pins over there. Or we can choose to add some. Here we don't need to do anything because they are all on top of each other. And that's exactly what we want. You can see here, they are all on top of each other. So we don't really need any flex. We don't need to make it a flex container. It's easy, right? So this one, we already have the behavior. If we put the content in here, it will just flow down. But we can still put some, we can put a border around it, so at least we see what we have there. So that will be the pins. Guys, I see that we're almost done. Because when it comes to putting the content, it's very straightforward. What is important is the architecture. And what is most difficult? So the pins, let's do the border of 2 pixels, solid, and then red. Yep. Nice. We are done with the architecture of the site. So we are ready to do the development, add the content. This is the whole architecture of this whole design. So once we have it, you just keep adding content in it. So where do you want us to begin, the header or the footer?
We could do header.
Okay, so in the header, this is what they have: H1 tag, 2 H1 tags. So like I said, I don't want us to type. We can just copy and paste it, right? Because that's the content. The content, we all know how to do it. So this is a whole div, and it doesn't have a lot of things. We remove this header, go to the next line. It has an H1 tag. So type an H1 tag. That's news. News type. We can use the same name they go up, but it doesn't matter. And then the other one has some dates, H1, we can use a paragraph type for that.
I think it was New York Times.
Yeah, that's what they had, but I wanted, we could change it too, but it doesn't matter. So let's just copy what they have, right? See, H1, New York Times, and then the date. And see, you put it in the header section. That's all you have to do. So essentially, that is the only data, the only content that the header has. So we do this, and then we save this. Now let's see what we got. Nothing. Let's go back. Why? Oh, see, there's an error. I didn't copy all of it. And still nothing, really.
Did you save it?
I didn't save it. Oh gosh, I made a mistake.
It's not even there.
Yeah, it's not even there. I pasted it in the wrong file.
Oh.
I copied and pasted it at the same location. So now this has to come back here. You know, with proper indentation, it's better to just put a tab space and then paste it so that you can see what you're reading. So the header div begins from here and it ends here. And this is the only data that is in there. You all can create something like this, right? You all can do it. So there is no need. We already learned that. So once we do, we have this. H1 tags are always big. So what do we see? We can see what can we center. That's it. All we have to do is to center this. And to center it, we all know is text align. This one, text align, can do it. We just want to center the text. So text align and then say center. And now we have this. Can you see that we almost have the same thing? The only difference is the color. The colors are not the same. It looks like it's the same, but I think they are using
font. I think it's the font.
Yeah, the font.
And they bold their own.
Oh,
the contents are bold.
Yeah, theirs are bolded, right? Now ours is not. Yeah. So these are small details. I think it's the font family. There is something called font family. The font type that you're using, like, you know, when you're typing in Word, we have these different types of fonts. that you can use. The type of font that you're using is different from ours. You see, look at the K. There is some shadows on the end there, but for the K, there is no shadow. They call it
It's solid.
yes, sans serif or something. That's what they call it. I don't really care about that level of detail. Do you guys care about it?
No. No.
Yeah, it's easy. You can always play with the type of font family that you want to use. Yeah. So let's ignore that for now. But we can also attempt to do it. I just said we should ignore it, but so if you want to use it for the whole document, you can apply it to the body. You can apply this to the body because everything lives in the body anyways. You can say font family. I think they are using the sans serif. Sans serif means without shadows at the end. That's one of the things I should have taught you guys. Yeah. Can you see now the shadows are gone? And you also don't have the shadows. So at the end of the letters, there were that little thing. So yeah, this looks good. Of course, for us, because of the border, that's why it's going down. They don't have any border on DS. So we can remove the border now, but I'll leave it there for now. I mean, the background, they are making it white. I think this is already white, so we don't need to set that. Is that white? This is white. So we can just set the background to white, but I don't think we need it. They did that. They did that. But I don't think this will change anything. Let's see. Did it change anything? It didn't.
No.
Okay, so I'll just remove it. Something that's not needed, we don't need to waste time having it. Of course, if you want to change it to any other color, you can, right? Okay, so that is the end of that header section. Now let's go to the footer. But the footer is the next one, the easiest one left. It's not exactly easy, right? So now let's do the footer. So all we need to do is to create a lot of lists like this, and then we can do the design. So let's copy the HTML from here, because we all know how to create lists and all. So it's not the focus here. So in the footer, this is the content they have. I mean, if you look closely, you can always map this to the UI. So there are 3 sets of lists over there. So unordered list, and each of them has a heading. So they have the heading here. So there's a heading and then there is a list. But like I said, it's always a good practice to put all of them in one div so you can control them, right? So they put all of them in the same div. Wrap them in a container. Don't let them just move around the way they want. Yeah. So because they are in a container now, you have the flexibility to play along with it. Oh, even when we did the architecture, we could have done the architecture for the footer too, because it has some divs in there. Let's do the architecture for the divs. And then before we put the content in it. But that is more like it's almost like we skipped a step. So if we want to, so the footer, this is the footer section, it's at the bottom there. You go into it. So the architecture of the footer, we have 3 divs in there. Like if you look at it, you will know that there are 3 divs. So let's just put the divs and then make sure we have the architecture first before we put the content in it. So again, if you look, you can see this whole thing looks like one div, another and another, right? So let's have this architecture before we put the content in it. So right now, if I refresh, nothing happens, right? Because there are no content. We have to put content here. But first of all, it wasn't saved. That was the first reason, but we need to put content here. I'll say content 1. Content 2. Put the content 3. Save. So now we have this. We can put some borders around them. Already they have a name. They have a name. They all have a name. So we call it by name, and then just put a. Normally, when you're designing, you just look at the code and then whatever you need to do to get what you want, you do it. There are many different ways of achieving this same thing. Solid, and then say pink. Okay. So now I'm adding a border so we can see what we are doing. Oh, what did we do? Bottom links. Is this pink? So let me just pick a different color. Different color. Why did that not work? Content. Bottom links, it's the class. I'm a little surprised why the borders didn't show. Well, let's see again. This time they came. So let's just use a color that stands out. What color should we use? Black is fine.
Like a purple, lilac.
Okay, purple. We use purple here. And something. Yes. So now we have our three divs here. You can see that that is not the behavior. The divs are not stuck on top of each other. They are what? Side by side each other. So clearly this means that we need to turn the footer into a flex container. So footer, let's turn it into, how do I do that? Display flex.
One.
I'm sorry?
No, I was trying to say one or two.
Oh, we are turning it into a container, just a, a flex one. So this is a container that contains items, but we don't want this behavior. We want them to be next to each other. So we just, now we have this.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So now we have this. And one more thing, what behavior is this? Who can remember what property we have to use to space out the divs like this? Remember, we are spacing them along the main axis in a kind of equal fashion. See, from here to here is equal, and then this is half and half. Do you know what property we have to use?
Is it margin?
Margin. You can use margin, but because we are dealing with the flex, it's better to use the flex to make our life easy. So it is the space between. Justify content, space between. That is a property. And once we do that, actually, it's not a space between, because look, the space between begins from here. They are all at the end. So I think it's the space around. Let's see. So the value should be the space around. Space around. I mean, and so let's see. Yes. So once we do space around, you see we have that. So I think that's the behavior. Can you all see what we are doing?
Yeah.
Sure.
So this is how you do it. So that is the architecture of the footer. So now we have that, we can now begin to put the content in it, okay? And so we will copy the content from here. We can copy the first content and paste it in the first div, I'm just doing some indentation here so that the code can be readable. Okay, it's good. And let's get a second content also. I mean, you want to create a list. We all know this syntax, right?
Mm-hmm.
UL, yeah, just use that and you have a list. You just copy, oh, yeah, and then paste it. Content 2. So we're just using the things we've learned, essentially. We are almost done. I can assure you that. We're almost done, for sure. But this is how it is. This is how you would do it. Say, so now let's see what this gives us. They'll just it will populate the content there. Yep. This is what we have. So how do we convert this into this? You can see there is no border, right? So that's the first thing we have to take care of.
Yeah.
So bottom links doesn't have any border. So let's remove it.
And then we could do the background to black.
Yes, the background of what container
The footer.
Good. So now the folder, we already have the folder selected, so we can go there and add it. So background, it's actually the background color. Normally, if you say background, it's like you want to set an image to black. And we have this. Yep. And some things are hiding, right?
Right.
What do you know why they are hiding? Because
of the background, they share the same color with the background.
There you go. So we need to change the color to something else, right? So
how to change the font?
We have to change the font and the color.
The color font, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the color of what? I think this is the color of, first of all, this H4. So how
it will be in the footer.
It will be in the footer.
CSS in the footer.
The CSS in the footer. Okay, so you believe that if we set the color of the footer, the color of the footer to white, it will work? Let's see.
No, I think you have to call the politics, entertainment, and technology to be white.
We need to call it to, yeah. So let's set the color of the footer and see if it will affect this.
Okay.
Since they all live in the footer.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but what you're saying is definitely good. You see now that it affected that too.
Right.
But we could have done what you're saying by removing it from here and saying, the way we get this, the politics, sometimes you don't always have to give it a class. You can say, through the footer, get me all H4s, right? But the way you reference that is this. You can say dot footer, and then you put a space in it and then say H4. Then set the color to white. This is going to work. Sometimes you have to put some greater than sign there, but let's see if this works. You see that works. That we also get that. We have the same thing. So I feel this is what you were saying. Okay, so that's one thing, but unfortunately, the color didn't affect this ones. We couldn't set the white color at this level. So if we want to change the color of this, how can we do it?
Can you call the UL?
The UL, yes, that's good. We can call the UL, or we can even call the anchor tag also the A.
Oh, okay.
So there are many different ways. So let's just call the A. Is that okay? You can do it through the UL, but the UL may not work, but the A is sure to work. But that is the closest tag to it.
Okay.
And if you want to be safe, you can say ULA so that you are going through the UL. And you can also be safe by saying go through the footer and then give me the UL and then the A, to be very specific. So that if anywhere on the page, if you have a list, it will not interrupt. But in this case, we don't. So we can just use the A and then just set the color to white. So there are many different ways of doing these things, you know. And so there is something hidden that we don't see is the color of the list. The list has a color of white, but we don't see it. The bullets. So let me address that. So I want to do it by moving this white color upwards to the footer level so that it will bind on all of them. So bind and origin. So then now we see it. So if we want to remove this bulletin from there, they call it list style. This is the list styling property. We have to set it to none to remove the bullets because they don't have bullets over here, right? So
And the underline.
and the underline also. So to remove them, there are two different things we have to do. So that we can say bottom links and then UL, or we can just say UL also. Doesn't matter. But that's the only unordered list on the page. Let me bring it right here. UL. So the list style, we want to set it to none. Give us no styling. And if we go back and see what that does for us, it takes away that. And then, like you said, we need to remove the underline also. So these lines, they are coming from the anchor tag. Anytime you use the anchor tag, automatically they put a line underneath this. So if you want to remove the line underneath it, the property is text decoration. Decorating the text. Set it to none. You don't want any decoration. I mean, you learn these things by experience. So that goes away, right? So the only thing left there is what? Making sure that this and this are on the same line. So how do we do that? How do we do that? Let's inspect it and see why they are moving forward. For me, I'm thinking about maybe we need some padding. Oh, maybe there is a padding happening that we don't want to have. Remember the box model? I see. See, there's a pattern around it. Yeah, you see, this is the whole container. And if you look at the bottom part, there is a whole pattern, a pattern of 40 on the left. Look at the little drop down that opened, 0, 0, 0. It means that the 40, that is the left pattern. So margin, we don't care. We'll leave the margin there. There's a top and bottom margin of 16 pixels. But you see there's a pattern of 40 pixels. Pattern on the left side. And if you look at this one too, it's the same. As soon as we take away the pattern, can you see that it will be at the same line as the entertainment? So this is the pattern though, this one. The green is the pattern. This is the content itself. And that's the margin. It doesn't have any border. So let's remove the pattern left. I mean, sometimes you scratch your head a little bit to figure this out, but you know, I did it before we started the class, so that also helps me a little bit. The pattern of what are we, what property is this? I believe it is the UL, because the UL is the container that contains all of this list. So let's find the UL and then just add padding left. You can just say padding 0, but we know that the padding is on the left, so we'll just specify it that way. And once we save, it doesn't work. Okay, let's go back. Did we make any mistake here? Let's remove this since we are not using it. But that was just a warning, so it's a little interesting. Okay, that didn't remove it. Let's just say, oh, good. Well, look at what I did. If we want to remove the padding, what should we do? We have to make it 0 pixels, right? But I made it 40. So that's why nothing changed. So now we have the footer. The footer is done. The footer is done. Look at their footer and look at ours. I mean, ours is hanging in the sky because we don't have any content in the middle. Once we put the content there, it will push it down. Do you think DS is really the length? I don't know. I think it's the same. The height is kind of the same. Okay, so that's that. Now let's go into the let's do this side, the new section first. I mean, this side is easier, so shall we do that first? I don't know.
That's fine.
Okay, so we already have the architecture, so we just have to copy the code and put in there. We can just copy the content and put it in one at a time, or we can just copy everything and then replace whatever we have there with this. It's the same thing. So see sidebar, let's just replace whatever we have there with this content and save it. And let's see what we get. Now we have that. Can you see the power of the architecture, the way it works? You just work your way backwards like that. So with these images, we need to make them 100% so that they take the whole space, because you can see the images are taking the whole space, and all of that. Sorry.
So when we add more contact into like the body, the one on the left is when the sidebar will move more to the right side.
It will. It has to.
Okay.
Yeah, it has to. It's kind of these images, you know, the images, they take any space that they need.
Right.
So we need to tell it, don't just take whatever space you need. Take only 100% of the space available to you. So once we do that, it will shrink and take as much space as it's available to it. Because the images are kind of inline properties, they take any amount of space they need. So let's enforce that. So we can just say it's just images. So the image tags within the pins. So we can say they're also through the sidebar. So we can say dot sidebar. There are different ways of doing this. And then img. This means all images within the sidebar should have the width of. Now I'm telling him to take 100% of the parent's width. Not just the width that it needs, but just 100% of the parent's width. If we save this, now you see it's squeezed back. Can you see sometimes very simple knowledge and then you have a whole powerful design? Any questions?
No.
So if you look at here, there is no, they didn't center the titles. So we don't also have to center. Everything kind of looks good to me for now. We may want to add some padding to the left so that there will be some space around, and you see they have some paddings. See, they have some padding here. And you see when you see a little space like this, it's padding. It's padding. So we can just add some padding there too, no problem. Let's just add padding to, you add a padding to the divs. To the divs, right? To the divs themselves. So they are the pins. So let's just add padding. Just add it around it, say 1 EM. Any amount of padding is fine. That you are comfortable with. You see? It adds the padding. So that one has nothing to do with Flex container. It's just now the content. When you are dealing with the content, then you're using the box model and the skills that you will learn. But the architecture, separating the pages out, is the Flex. If you master the Flex, guys, it will take you places. That's all I'm trying to say, okay? Okay, now we can move to the news section. You can see we already have our architecture. Oh, this is just so beautiful. I'm so excited by this. The fact that we have this nice behavior. You just copy. Now, if I didn't have the content to put there, I would just be putting the content myself. I would just be typing it. I would just be typing it here. I'll just come here and then, like, I know I need an image tag, so I'll just put the img tag. I mean, we did this. I'll reference the image, and then after I do that, what is the next thing? The next thing, that will be this whole image. The next thing is I need a heading. So I'll just get my heading tag and then a paragraph. Very easy. Like if I have to do this, so I'll just say, I'll now use H1 and then do this lorem 5, and then hit enter. So that's that. And then I need a paragraph. I need a paragraph tag. Lorem, any amount, say 30, and then hit enter. Oh, it has to be, there's no space, 30. Now, if I save it, of course, I have to reference an image. Let's reference any image. Where we are right now, if we want to reference an image, I think we need to back out. And then the images folder is there. We go into it and then pick any image, for instance. So I'm just, trying to show you how I would do it if I didn't have to use their content. You see? That's how you put the content over here. And clearly you want it to take the whole space. So you tell it, oh, you do the same thing we did here. You can say the image in the images in the news section.
Yes.
So you use the dot to make it a class, and then you say img. Once you put comma, then that's fine. I want it to take the whole screen, so this will just to do that. I mean, to take 100% of the space available. So let's see what this is. Is that not very similar to what this is doing?
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar. It's the same thing. The only thing is I have to increase my paragraph length a little bit, right? Which is easy, right? So I'm just gonna copy the content and paste it in here because I believe you guys can do this simple design in there. We've done one before. So let's just copy the contents. So we'll copy all the contents here. Oh, sorry. Let's copy them from here. So once again, we can just copy them one at a time, or we can copy all of them at one go. So let's just copy all of them at one go. Just copy all. I'm just copying the content. See? Oh, I overcopied. Just stuff from here. See, up to the news. Just copy all of them. But we use the same classes, so just now let's just replace everything we have here with what they have. Oh, okay. So this is what we have done. So let's save this and then go back. Because we already did the image, things may just work right away. Yep. That's the power of the architecture. We already did the architecture, so you just put a content in it and they stay just like that. Is there any confusion? Oh, sorry, let's do it here. Yeah, this is what we have done. So I just copied the content, the images and everything. It's referencing from a different place. Guys, how do you see this?
It looks good.
Ibrahim, what do you think? Thanks, Afi.
Yeah, it's okay.
Can you guys do this?
Yeah, you mean the rest?
Yeah, I mean, we finished. There's no rest.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I can do this.
So
The
we
way you
didn't.
did it, I can do it.
Yeah. So we're gonna do the padding.
Okay.
Let's just do the padding and make it similar to what they've done. Some of these spaces. Yeah, they have some spaces around there. So let's try to put that in, and then you guys, your assignment would be to code it. Just watch the video and do the same thing and show me. Because once you are doing it, you run into issues, and you will learn a lot as you do it. You can use your own images also if you want. Copy your own images into a folder and then just reference them. So this image doesn't come, so let's point it to any image that we have. So even here too, I don't know where these images are, but it looks like they have it on somewhere, Google user content somewhere. Okay. So the Japanese food, this image doesn't work. So let's point it to something local. Let's say /images/California. You can use any image. We didn't really have to use their stuff, but because of time and everything. So this is the image that we used. It's in there, California. But our image clearly is pretty big. I wish it would be the same size as this, and it isn't. So it looks like we have to reduce the image, the height of that image. Let's choose another image and see if it fits. Just choose another one. Yeah, so this one kind of fits. So we'll leave it like that. Even this one doesn't fit all the way. It's just the height. So let's find a way to specify this height. I don't even know what height it is, the images that you're using, but let me give this a special class also. Say image, a special class, and then I can reference this. I want to control the height of the image in that container. So we'll just say .news. We don't even need to do that. We can just reference the image right away. But that's the only thing with that. So I'll just say height. And the height, I'll make it say, let's do an educated guess. I think it's taking about 50% of the space, or slightly more than 50%. So 50% of the height. So let's just say 50%. Let's see, save it. And so this is 50. It needs to take slightly less than 50. So let's make it say 45. Is it really happening? Well, the best way to know if this height we are setting is working is to just make it very small. Say 3 pixels, 3%. If it's working, we'll see. So it's not working. The height is still not responding to what we are doing. So let me make it pixels and see if it works for pixels. So even with pixels, it's not responding. So how do we, this height appears to be happening by default, but cannot just do that. 1 second. So now we have a problem to fix. Why is it not referencing it? Image is the same. Is it the same? I believe this is the same. Not image. So why would the pixel not work? It's a little strange. 1 second, let's see. Okay, let me make it EM and C. It looks like it's just not working. That's all. The height, setting the height is not responding. Okay. So this is an interesting problem. Okay. I mean, we can also set the height here. So let me see. The image, they have an attribute called height. Let's use it. We all know what an attribute is, right? So let's make it 33 pixels here and see if that works. And that works, right? So let's just set the heights. Sometimes if you try one thing and it doesn't work, you try the other. But can we really use percentage in here? I don't think so. But why not? It's still a unit. Okay, so we can use percentage over there. So it's slightly bigger than 50%, right? See, so let's say 55%. 55. The reason why it doesn't work over here is a little strange. Something else is overriding it. Something else is overriding it. That's why. But yeah, so it's actually like, I think it should be 54. You guys see what I'm doing?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm just solving the problem. Yeah, can we see now we have it? It's exactly the same size now. Okay. So that's it. And at the bottom here, these images are also out of place, but we copied their code. So I don't think we did anything to make this happen. But let me see their code. Is it like, oh yeah, even on their site, it is still like that. So we can do the same thing we did to make it equal size. It's easy to do that, but we just did it here. Okay, so now let's do the padding. Let's add some padding to the article. So article is already here. Let's do some padding. Now the designs, there are many things we can do there. So now that is the padding. And yeah, that is the padding. So these things over here, what do you think these are, guys? Tell me. You know that padding is the space between the wall and this. But what do you think is these things? The spaces between the elements. What do you think they are?
Is it margin?
It is margin. Thank you, sir. It is margin. So let's set the margin because, and they don't have border. We can see there is no borders around it. So let's remove the borders now. So I'll remove the border and then I'll just set the margin to say one, sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'll just say one REM. This is the root font size, 16. So let's see. This is what we've done. Actually the pattern is working, but I still don't see the margin. I still don't see the margin, but let's see. Okay. First of all, let's just remove this patterns. Let's remove the border. Remove the border from here. Let me remove the border from the pins and also add the margin. This margin, we didn't see it. It's a little strange, but so it looks like this thing has a color, right? Is it a border? Oh, there's a border there. And there may be a border there with the size of that border with the size of gray. Let's try that. Let's try border again. Border, say 3 pixels, and then
Color.
solid, and then color of gray. So this is so that is not a border. This is it is a margin.
Can you put color in margin?
Can we put color in margin?
Yeah.
Color in margin. Color in margin. Margin color, no. Margin, no.
Oh, okay.
I think the margin would take the color of the container. Right. So
Okay.
this one, they live in a container, right? So let's give a color to the container and see. Maybe that will automatically reflect. So this will remove this for now. I mean, by the border, we can see that the margin is there. It's just the color. So what you said was a good suggestion. But where do we give that? I would think that it's at the container level. So let's say background color here and set it to gray and see if this changes anything. That is what we have. Slightly different. Wow, this is the things you it's the things. Sometimes you have to think. So let's remove that. Control Z. So we removed it. Save. Maybe we have to use some
You
property.
use margin and increase the size of the margin or something.
Would that give you the color? Maybe there is a.
Can we see the original design?
Let's inspect it.
Let's see. Let's inspect it and see what's.
We should inspect it, right, and see what's happening.
Yes, and see what is there.
Okay.
If it is a fresh design, I will tell you this is beautiful. But we just want to get the actual design as customer specification. So
yes. Yeah, we'll do that. There's something called box size, and let's just say border box. I know that's not the issue, but who knows? Just try everything. So that's fine. So if we do inspection, I don't think it will help us, but let's see. Who knows?
that's on our own.
Yeah, this is on our own. Oh, you want us to inspect the other one?
Yeah, the original.
Yeah, that's smart. That's smart. The original. If we do this one, that's good. That will help us. Okay.
So maybe we should just click on it.
Oh, see, it's a border. I think it's a border. Right? Look at the margin.
Say div.
And then the div. See this div here. And see this. I think it's the border color. There is no margin. It's the border. I think it's the border. Right? See the space. See, this is the space allocated to the div. Okay, let's do the proper let's just do the proper inspection without thinking too much. So if I hover on the div here, it will highlight the space for the div. Oh, so the space for the div is what is highlighted. It doesn't include the space that we care about.
Yeah.
Oh, so
I think it's a different thing entirely.
The news is the one we need to set that thing on, the news. Let's set the background color of the news and see. See, if I go to the news container, can you see that it's highlighting the position that we care about?
Yeah, it's done to, yeah.
But what is it?
So should we go into that, the news?
Yeah,
then you have a div, news.
Okay, so you can see the properties assigned to the news. Down here, so it's inheriting from the body. I really don't see any color.
No, we have the margin is 0, the padding is 0, the font, the line, height, font
Yeah, the
size, and
line height.
background color. I think background color is white.
Yeah, and it,
Why is that some of them bold and the other one is like faded out?
so those that are faded out are not being applied.
Oh,
Something else is overriding them.
There's a margin to the right. Is that not it?
So
Margin right is one this.
so margin right.
oh, if you scroll down a little bit, scroll down.
So the margin right is set on what? It's set on the news item.
Come down.
No, go down, scroll down.
Where we have this
scroll down on the page.
No, on the inspect section.
On the inspection.
Oh, this is like this?
No, up a
go
little
up.
bit more. Can you go up?
1 second though. Can you guys see what's happening though? See the margin. So there's the margin set on the on this container. And what is that container?
That's the news.
The news. So let's do that. But we are not having that. So that's the space we need. Look at the space. You see, if I go to
that's what I'm showing you.
Yep. But what is it doesn't have any color, it's just a margin, right?
Yeah, it has that, it doesn't have a color. The background is white.
Oh, so
if you scroll up, I will show you on the inspection. No,
on the
inspect.
inspection.
Yeah, go up. Okay. See where they have screen and in brackets, yes. See down, margin right, 1 hour.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
Let's copy that. Yeah, that's the margin. Let's see, maybe that helps us. The news.
Go to the news.
And then let's paste that.
Okay.
Hopefully this helps us. Let's go back to us. And let's remove that and see. So it did bring the margin, just that the color is not there.
Maybe it's because we still have that the border.
Yeah, let's remove. So the border has nothing to do with the color of the margin. So we need the color of the margin. I think we need to set the color on the body, and then the margin will kind of pick it. Let's see that. Let's just set some color here. Background color. So now it's kind of trial and error at this point. And the color we need is not white, though, if you think about it. So white, nothing will happen. Let me pick that color we saw there. This color here. It's not, I don't think it's white. So let's use that color. And see if that works. Customer specification. I think it did work. But because it worked, it's also, we need to set background colors of other things also. So let's specifically tell the background of this to be white. We didn't do it. That's the issue. We need to actively set the background of everything now. So the header, we need a background here to be white. And then see what's gonna happen. So you see now we have that back. So once we set the backgrounds, we're gonna have this color left in the middle. So we now have that color. So now we need to also set the background of all these elements, but they are not that many. So let's copy this, the header section. Let's set the background of the footer. Footer has the background already set. Where's the sidebar? Let's do the sidebar first. Sidebar background. Let's set this to white also. And see. Good. So we are getting there. We are getting there. Now let's set the background of the news to white. Even though we didn't see them do that, sometimes there are different ways of doing things, right? So the margin left here is okay. Okay, now let's see how to we're gonna have to do some margins also. So we're gonna have to do some margins over here. So the pins, let's do that on the pins. If I want, what is the specific margin we need? Let's see. We need margin at the top and the bottom of the pins. Top and bottom. Top and bottom. So let's try that. The pins, where are the pins? So we can say margin top. Let's use 1 REM and margin bottom 1 REM. Okay, and now let's see what we get. Didn't work. Okay, or say it works, but it's not inheriting the color of the body. Well, let's inspect what we have done. Let's see. Should the margin be set on the, see this one? So the margin is actually working, see, but the color is not, it's not inheriting the color of the body. See, something else is overriding it. What is it? What did we set margin left or margin right? What margin did we set on it? But this one says like there's margin around everywhere, but we only set the top and the bottom. How is that? So margin top, margin bottom. Oh, there is a margin here. Okay. This is the cause of that. We can remove this one. We don't want margin all over the place. We just want it on the top and the bottom. But now, why is it not getting the color? 1 second. Is the sidebar. I want to remove the border. 1 second. Padding top. Now the dividing starts. 1 second. Let me see. What line is this here? I'm trying to understand. Okay, let me leave this side alone and focus on the new section since we already got one margin here working. But if we want margins between this and this, it has to be the articles. So what is the articles? We set one margin around it, but the color is, I just wish we could set the color of the articles, but I'm gonna try something here. Okay, 1 second. After teaching for this long, I don't even think my mind is working anymore. So the problem could be right there, but I'm just overseeing it. So this article container, we want to set margin on it, which we have done, but it is not inheriting the color of the background.
Maybe we can figure it out for homework.
Yep, that's a good one also. Let's, if we can spend a few minutes here and see. So if we are not able to get it, then is this one, let me remove this for now temporarily. I know we need it, but just remove it temporarily and see. So once we do that, this is what we have. Is it what they got? So is this image taking 100% of the space? Oh, I think our padding is too big. Our padding, what padding are we giving to the, do they even have padding at all? Let me remove this. I don't think they have padding. Yeah, so this looks like it's closer to what they have. See, it's closer to what they have. But where is this black border? Where did we put that border? I don't see it. Where did we put that border? Is it on the news? This is the news. There's no border here. And if we check the articles, I don't see border. What about big? None of them has borders. Oh, I think I see where that is coming from. It's coming from the container here. Let me remove this. Container also doesn't really have a border, so let's remove it. And what else doesn't have a border? So let's remove these borders from here. Because I don't think they have borders. Yeah, so that kind of brings us pretty close. Kind of brings us pretty close to what we need, but there is some color override happening. So I'm gonna set the margin on the sidebar and see. Sidebar, set margin 1 rem and see what we get. Okay, so that at least gives us the top line also. That gives us the top line, and over here too we got it, but yes, we are getting close. Don't lose hope. Now let's inspect something here. I think there is something going on in this container that I don't know. See, in this container we have this, and then we have the margin. Do we still have padding in there? I think we still have padding, and they don't have padding in theirs. The only thing we need is that. I don't think we need it. But if we have padding, I should see it. Let's see. Padding. I don't think we have padding. Margin, right. So this thing here, if I take it away. So that's how you can do things here. See, if I take this, if I bring it back, we have that space. If I take it away, that space goes away. So we need that. We need to remove this. And also let's try to look at this carefully and see. If I take this color, everything goes away and then comes back and margin, nothing happens. Padding, to remove the padding and come. You can even write code in here too. You know, you can, but I don't think the pins, I think the pins is margin bottom. It's clearly there, right? We have margin top and bottom, but the color of the margin is our problem right now. Why is it white? That is strange. It should take the color of this, but it's not taking it. Wow. Okay, let's see. Let's see what they have here. Well, let's just do the first thing that we saw before we forgot. In the news, we don't need this margin, right? That's how you debug your code, you know, little by little. And it's still not exactly the same. Maybe there is a flex property that can put the gaps in there without having to do all these margins. But 1 second. Let's just, I want to think a few seconds. So the pins, we set the background of the pins, and we have a padding. Do we have padding here? We have padding 1 rem. Then we have margin top and margin bottom. So the pins, we think we need to set the background of the pins. This margin top, we don't need it because we already set it at the sidebar level. But let's give but we gave a background to the sidebar. Oh, I see why. See, this sidebar, I don't think we should give the color to the sidebar. We should give it to the pins instead, so that the sidebar will take the color of the body. But we need to give the color to the pins instead. We want the pins to be white. And maybe that's what we need. Yay. Damn. Oh my God. Ibrahim, you see, these are the divs, right? These are the pins, and they live in the footer. We make the color of the footer white. So it was overriding the color of the body. We didn't want that. So for this side, it looks like we are good, but what about this side? I think it's going to be the same thing. Here too, instead of making the color of the news white, we have to take it and make the color of the article white. That's the problem. I don't know, when we inspected it, we didn't see that. Where is the news? The news. The news. Okay. Where's the news? I don't see the news anymore. It's here. We don't have any color there. Okay. The articles also don't have a color either. So I think we just have to set the color of the article. I thought we did this. How did we remove it? Let's see. Setting the color of the article now gives us this. Is this what they have? It looks like that's what they have, but this space, their space is pretty smaller than ours. So so let's see how to reduce that space a little bit. Oh, and clearly we need some padding. We took the padding out, but we need it. Look, these ones are against the wall. So the padding is for the article. Say padding 1 rem. So, you know, sometimes you just do trial and error. So that's fine. This looks good in there, but this space is too big. So how do we, it's the margin. The space is the margin. And margin is set on what? What did we set the margin on? We set it on the news. 1 second, guys. Let's see how to reduce that a little bit. So we have one margin there, REM. We just set one. We didn't even set any margin at the news level. I thought we did. We just set a margin right over here. So the code is looking different for me now. I don't know. Yeah. So let's just pardon 1 EM is fine, but let me make it just EM and see if that becomes slightly smaller. Okay. Now let me force that. Make it like 2 pixels and see what we get. Margin on the articles. Yeah, so they are very small now. So let's just increase it from there. But why don't we just make it the same as what we did for the sidebar? So, and it's the same that we used, and yet it was so margin bottom. So let me do this here for now and see. I'm gonna take this away for now. Just want to see what I get. So you can see that now we have the same, the bottom is good. But of course, it looks like we need one at the right also. It looks like we need one at the right also. So let's do one at the right and see. So margin bottom, margin right. Give it the same pixels. You can see. Yeah. Guys, I think we are almost there. We are almost there, right? See, everything is the same now. The only thing is this 1, 2 is no longer there. See the top. The top is no longer there. So let's see what's happening. The top. So here, how do we do that? Let's inspect it. I believe we can put it on the news. Padding top on the news. Let's try that first. Padding top on the news. So the news here, let's say margin, not padding, margin top 1 REM. Let's see. You know, sometimes the little things is what takes much of your time. Yeah, so we have it, right? Guys, can you see that we are there?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
we are almost there. It looks like we are almost there. So the padding that I added, that is what is creating this little space here. It looks like they don't have that. And we have that. But I think, let me see this here. Let me see. Yeah, and still it doesn't float. So, oh, okay, I see how we're gonna do it. So we added the padding at the article level. We need to add it at the content level, just the content. Oh, even the image also seems to have it. This is tricky, man. This little white space. Okay, 1 second. I'm gonna try one thing. But see, oh, so for the big, there is no margin on the image. Okay, I know what to do. Let's say, for the big, let's do it on the medium first. So the padding, I would say that we already have the medium here. So let me move the padding and put it in the medium and the small. Then let's see. So once I do that, the medium and the small, they are exactly the same. See the medium and the small. They look exactly the same. Let's see, do they really? Yeah. Oh, so the small, the image doesn't have padding around it, but the medium, what is the medium? So even the medium, the image doesn't have, okay, I see it. I see this is consistent. It's consistent. So we can't put it, it's easy now. I think we can easily do it. So let's do it around the article content. See, the article content is what has the padding. The article content. The article content is what has the padding. So we remove it from here and put it here. And then, so that's why you have to give smaller names, right? You narrow down the grouping of your code. So the small, I will take it from here too. Now this would work. Save. As there's no limit to what you can do. The power is in your hands. You just have to play with it and get what you want. Once we do that, I personally think that we now have what they have done. See the images, they extend all the way. The way you know you have it is just do something like this and then change the screen. If you see any significant changes, then, so their section is slightly bigger than ours, but that one is just I don't think it's really important, right? DS is slightly bigger, kind of zoomed out. But other than that, everything is the same. Oh, their font size is bigger than ours. See, their font size, it's not probably not just the size, it's also the font type also. So let's increase the font size. We can do it at the body level. Let's say font size. But what are we increasing it to? Say 16 pixels. It's probably already 16 pixels. It's already 16, so it's just the font size and the spacing. So we saw some line height and all. Do we have the line height in our code? We don't have the line height. Let's add it. Line height. When we did the inspection, they had a line height of 1.5. Maybe that would. Yeah. You can see the line height has spaced out our work a little bit more. But some of these little details, I don't know if they are that important. I mean, managers will see it. Managers will tell you, they'll even give you the line height that they want. Right? So we can see, I see one small difference. Our left margin is smaller than what they have. See? So their left margin, we only have the right margin, and they have the left margin too. Okay, so let's do it. Let's do that. See, we need the left margin. But where do we put it? Is it on article level or I'll put it on the article level first and see. So we have the margin left, and let's make it 1 REM. So fresh. So that's increasing the space. It's kind of increasing the space a little bit. So that means we have to put it on somewhere else. Let's remove it from here. Let's put it on the news and see. So if we put it on the news, we have exactly what we need. I think so. I think it has also doubled the size. So it cannot be on the news. So that's these little things, man. Let's see. Let's remove it. Margin left. Let's think a little bit. So we did put it on the article, right? And what happened? Article margin left. Article margin left. Then we probably should remove the margin right on the article. And that might make a difference. Yeah. Yes. I think this is better, guys. So all of this, but once we put the left on the right, the middle here is being doubled. We didn't want that. So this kind of looks closer to what we need. So sometimes you can't get exactly what they give you. Sometimes, but you can get something that is manageable. You can see it's still just a very slight difference, which is maybe the image size or the margin that we set is probably a little bigger than it should be, but a very small difference, that's all. So, ladies and gentlemen, this looks very impressive. Do you guys have any questions?
No.
So in order for you guys to watch and do exactly what I did, replicate what I did. Don't try to add any creativity, just replicate what I did, okay? In order for you to do that, what do you guys need from me? Do you want me to send the HTML code to you? And then at the same time, I would encourage you to just copy the content and use it, but do it from the scratch, the way we did it. Get the architecture first and then start copying the contents and putting it in there. Do you want me to send this to you so you don't have to type it? Or you guys would rather type it and use your own images? Yeah, maybe that looks good. You can use your own images.
Okay.
Yeah, and then your own content, right? Just create a list and put your own list over here. It doesn't have to make any sense, but you know, you can see this one, they don't go anywhere. That's why we have the pound key here. So if you want it to go somewhere, you can just put the URL and then it will go. So ladies and gentlemen, do you have any questions for me? That brings us to the end of the project. Once you watch it, you're gonna have the whole code.
I'm all set with questions. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Afi. Ibrahim, are you still here? So Ibrahim is still here, but I think you are muted in case you are saying anything. Yeah, so I don't know, Ibrahim's mic could be. So can we end it now?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you guys for being good students and, you know, participating.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.